Jalen Brunson's driving down the court. Ankle buckles, bro.
He go
Dude,
down. Who's holding that
we
shit?
already got Julius out. Now Jalen, we know it doesn't look serious, but let's just say we're just talking about the injuries that have decimated the Knicks. Julius, OG, Grimes, Mitchell Robinson, Jalen Brunson, Sims. Who am I missing? Anybody? That's enough. No, who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
That's four. That's four of our starting lineup. Just
that's and an X starter because Grimes was starting in the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yo, so I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Thank God we're getting ready to see the All-Star break. They're gonna need to rest up a little bit. The injury bug and the basketball gods have come down on the Knicks for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying?
Like humble yourselves.
Humble yourself. But we're still balling. We're still winning games. We're still maintaining, right? We pull the victory out. DiVincenzo hits a big shot down the stretch. We'll get into the post-game shit later. This is the question I want to propose to you guys today because I'm not even going to take full credit to this. This Q came up with this. I'm listening to it, and then I heard Evan and Tiki on WFAN, which is a show I like very much, talking about all these injuries part and parcel due to Tom Thibodeau and his well-known reputation dating back to the Chicago Bulls and the Timberwolves and everybody's coach of playing guys too many minutes and running these players into the ground. Now, there's a fine line you got to walk, right? There's load management, which the NBA tried to, undo. And then there's, too much minutes, logging too much minutes in, right? It's a fine line. You got to straddle that fence. Q, I'm going to go to you first. I wanted your thoughts on this. Is Tom Thibodeau, in fact, running the Knicks players into the ground and causing these injuries?
I don't think so. If this was a few years ago, that would probably be my excuse. But number one, it definitely can't be minutes because of OG. We didn't even see him get hurt. Number one, so that just came out of the woodworks. Jay and Julius Randle, like I was saying earlier, like I just felt like I wouldn't even say it was the minutes for him. I just feel like if that dude, and you had the argument with Mambo, if that dude's not to stand in front of him, when it doesn't matter how well rested you are, when you fall awkwardly and all that weight is going on any type of your ligaments, especially stuff associated with your joints, shit's gonna end up dislocating or getting displaced. It could happen with a knee or anything, and that's why I feel like, and he looked like he was jumping really high. I felt like his was just like a freak accident. I kind of wish he would have just like went to the side, and it looked like he was like he was like confused whether or not he wanted to do a layup or slam it on the.
And he got low bridged.
Yeah, he got
and he got low bridge. Now for Jalen Brunson, I just feel like Tibbs is just. He's just running out of plays at this point. And I'm like torn in between because it's like, do you play him when you're down by 20? Because regardless if you play him or not, there wasn't that many points that Jalen scored in that time anyway. They still would have came back, and Jalen Brunson's probably coming back with 3 or 4 minutes left anyway. But I do feel like Jalen Brunson, especially with all the injuries going on with the whole team, with Grimes and Julius Randle and OG, he has to pick up some of the slack, especially for Randle, because he has to make some points. He got to make these buckets, even though DiVincenzo is fucking. He's putting all those tricks into his backpack, and he's walking down the train tracks, and he found himself a home over here because now he's making those points. But Jalen Brunson is that guy, and he has that responsibility. And from what I hear when he was in Nova, that's the type of person that he was. He's a tough player. He likes to play. We know Randle plays through injuries. These are the type of players that make the Knicks the Knicks. But it's also scary that this is also something that coaches and I would hope that Tibbs would have recognized, fuck it, we're up by 20, maybe let me not just play him until it really gets worse and out of order, and then boom, I'll put in my star player, because I felt like it was a little bit premature when he did bring him in. being the fact that how outrageous the lead was at that point, and he did get hurt for no reason. And it was scary. Thank God it looked good, but I really can't put the entire blame on Tibbs, in my opinion. I really can't. I think a lot of it is bad luck. And it's just wrong place, wrong time. And, let's keep it a buck. It's just, are we surprised that this type of thing is happening to us, Knicks fans? It happens to the Giants all the time. It happens to the Mets all the time. It happens to a lot of the good teams that when they're playing good and then shit just happens. It happened to the Jets in the first play of the game.
No doubt. Ed, before I go to you, I want to play this clip from Tiki and Evan. And it's in the same vein of these thoughts we're talking about right now. I want to get your opinion. Here we go.
They got hurt? I played sports. Well, they get hurt because guess what? We live in a city of losers, and we're going to find ways for bad crap to happen. But is it just the basketball gods' fault, or is it Tom Thibodeau's fault?
Why is it that every week, and I don't want to be this is just the Knicks' bad luck, right? The basketball gods hate us.
Well, what else is it?
That's why they hurt the gods, not Thibodeau. The gods hurt Julius Randle. The gods hurt OG Anunoby. The gods now hurt Jalen Brunson. We can't have anything good. That's what the Knicks fan is thinking. But in the back of my mind, I can't help but say, Tibbs, man, protect your guys from themselves.
What do you want him to do? What do you want him to wrap them up in bubble wrap?
You have been so dominant. It's like when you're riding a winning streak and you're like, yeah, money, daddy can't lose, and you just keep going after it. 16-3.
I get to play
in
great.
the OG era. 16-3.
They got hurt?
I played sports.
Well, they get hurt because guess what? We live in a city of losers, and we're going to find ways for bad crap to happen. But is it just the basketball gods' fault, or is it Tom Thibodeau's fault?
Why is it that every week, and I don't want to be
so that's the Tiki and Evan show. Great show. I fuck with this show. Ed, your thoughts, my brother?
Well, I'm kind of in between because one thing I've been saying it for a while. This is like the year we got to watch Thibodeau, and Thibodeau is notorious for playing an 8-man rotation when there's like 14, 15 players on the team. You know what I mean? He's known for averaging 8 guys all the time. Former players have come out and say like he has the habit of, only caring about winning above all, and like during practices, even like during back-to-back games, he like runs them down to the ground, like it gets him extremely tired. Taj has come out and said that, even though Taj has always been a dependable guy for him and every team he's coached for. Derrick Rose most recently compared his time with the Knicks and Bulls, even with the Timberwolves. Now that his time with Memphis, maybe because he's much more older, you know what I mean? So he's saying it's running more smoother for him. But that's the only thing I don't like about Tibbs, that he just plays an 8-man rotation and motherfuckers be getting tired, bro. Like if you're winning by 20, why you still got Jalen out there? Like, play a McBride, play Malachi Flynn, play somebody different, because the OG injury, that was freakish. They said that he shook somebody's hand and all of a sudden his elbow got
what the fuck?
Yeah, they said it was some weird joke. I don't know, I agree with what Q said earlier on the thread. I feel like Jalen is probably pushing himself too hard, trying to be that guy to take us to the promised land right now, that he's like playing himself through injuries. That the Julius, like you guys said, freakish accident. You know what I mean? Shit happens. He's a big guy, fell in his arm. Thank God it didn't get worse. I don't know what's really going on with Grimes, with Sims. I don't know what's the extent of their injuries and stuff like that. But I like Thibodeau because he's a defensive mind, but he is notoriously known for running guys to the ground and like overplaying players. Like that's the only thing I don't like. So that's what I gotta say. I know that everybody been calling him out for years because of that. So you can see, I don't know if per se in this type of situation with the Knicks is going on. I think it's just a string of bad luck. You know what I mean? Even though I don't want to be that Knicks fan saying it's bad luck. But Tibbs, has a little fault to me, in my opinion, to it.
I agree, and I think that when you're a kid, right? My mother used to tell me, "Don't get in a lot of trouble, man, because your reputation is gonna follow you around. Your reputation is gonna follow you around." And I never understood what that meant, but as you get older and you do bad shit, and niggas don't want to fuck with you. Oh, that nigga's a bad seed. Or when you go for a job and you got a record, they look at your record and they go, damn, we can't hire this guy. He has a record. Your reputation precedes you, right? So I believe it's a little bit of Tibbs actually running the players into the ground, a little bit of people, his reputation preceding him. So they're going to say, oh, this happened. It must be Tibbs because this is, historically is what he's been known to do. And I think it's a little bit of misfortune, but maybe misfortune guided by Tibbs's hand, for lack of a better term. And I say that to say this. Why, to me, Jalen Brunson didn't need to be in that game, bro.
At all.
You understand what I'm saying? I know they were coming back. I know they were, you want to secure the lead. And it sounds crazy to say, but you don't have to win every fucking game. You know what I'm saying? Especially a game like Memphis. Now, that sounds crazy to say. You do want to get as much wins as you possibly can. You want to go hot into the All-Star break, and those wins at the end of the year will depend on what your seeding is going to be. So that everyone don't get crazy and jump out the window in the comments. You know what I'm saying? But there's a fine line to straddle with that. You know what I'm saying? I want to put Jalen back in that game. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Devo was the reason they kind of came back anyway. And then some nice plays from Precious Achua as well.
Yeah.
Julius, they're up by 20. Was it 24?
I think so.
Against Miami.
Yeah.
With how many minutes? You remember how many minutes was left?
I think it was like 7 minutes left. 7 something.
Why is Randall in the fucking game? Now I know supposed to have the starters in the game, right? And the elite is never safe. But if I'm Tibbs, I pull Julius out, especially because Julius is such a workhorse. I pull Brunson out. I know we're lacking depth. I know with the Quickly and RJ leaving, we're definitely lacking depth. It's a gigantic, gaping, glaring hole at this point right now. Pause. And it's rearing the head more and more every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We'll talk about. We're going to transition into the trade deadline in about 2 seconds. But I gotta say, it's a combination of both Tibbs. You gotta calm the fuck down, my brother.
Yeah.
But you can't run these guys into the ground because come playoff time, right? It's gonna hurt us. You're gonna, you leave a guy in too long, he could get hurt. Season-ending injury. Mitchell Robinson, right? He's coming back, but it looked like it was a season-ending injury. Now it's no fault of Tibbs, but these injuries are gonna kill us in the playoffs. One last thing on that subject, man. This could possibly be somewhat of a blessing in disguise, right? Maybe the basketball gods, instead of cursing the Knicks, maybe they're actually trying to save.
Right? I know where you're going with this,
right? You know what I'm
saying?
Maybe Jalen rolls his ankle. Maybe he gets an extra week. You know what I'm saying? Going into gets a couple games. All-Star rolls around. Now you're resting up. Julius, although he'll be rusty when he comes back, he's still going to be physically rested. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Robinson, we'll see. Hopefully, now these guys are going to be rusty. We got to get them back in a certain amount of time where they could kind of shake the rust off and get into a groove. But they will be rested up. Some key players. So I don't know.
But like another reason I stick up for Tibbs too, and I'm like that's why I'm like, as far as it seems, I'm kind of happy this is happening now as opposed to after the All-Star break, because I think that's when our record gets even a little bit more crazier, to be honest. But like I was looking at just the minutes played. And so if we're gonna blame Tibbs, we're gonna blame Tim for this, and we can blame him for the moment, but we can't blame him as a full picture, because then we can blame the Bulls coach. We can blame Donovan, because DeMar DeRozan is number 2 in minutes, and then Kobe White, I think, is like 6. So he got 2 of his players already in the top 10 of minutes played. They're not really getting hurt. Same thing with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Can't blame. Are we gonna blame Vogel? But I think these players are doing this because they have to win these games. Like, look at the Suns. Like, if Devin Booker or Kevin Durant are not playing those minutes, they're probably not going to be winning those games. And we already know that team is really not even what it was shaping to be out.
Depth team that, right? Then we have all this depth, right? That was the big thing with the Knicks, right? What's the point of having depth if you're going to run your fucking your 8-man rotation into the fucking ground?
Exactly. The thing about Tibbs too, like I agree with you saying, Q, but like the reason why I guess Tibbs gets a bad rap, because look at the players he's had that never like really got better under Tibbs, like Luol Deng, Noah, even D Rose. D Rose never was himself after that injury. You know what I mean? And it's because he was
Kirk Heinrich.
Yeah, Kurt Heinrich. Like the list goes on. Like you know, like those three names, those are the three best guys he had on the Bulls. You know what I mean? Luol Deng was never the same after that injury, even when he went to the Lakers. Joakim Noah came to us. He was never the same after that injury he sustained his last year with the Bulls. You know, as much as I love D Rose, he averaged 18 points with us his first time he got traded with us. He averaged 14 the second time around with us under Thibodeau, but
he was running D Rose into the ground. And I know back then it's a different story. I get it. The personnel was different, but damn.
I remember Luol Deng was like running the league in minutes like 4 or 5 years in a row when he was with the Bulls, like almost 39 minutes a game. That's why the dude is not around no more.
Yeah, I just feel like Tibbs is feeling like his back is against the wall at this point, especially all his players gone. Like he probably knows he made a coaching mistake, but we can't blame him everything neither, because Derrick Rose was 24 when he hurt his knee.
He was at 23.
Somebody got to take the blame. Somebody got to pay.
Yeah. I can't blame Tibbs on a 23-year-old, 3 years in the league for getting hurt. I don't care if you playing every fucking game, man, because they were even talking about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't miss a game for 80-some years.
But everyone's not built the same, brother. Everyone's not built the same.
No, and I agree. It's just and it's something that he has to work on. It's just the depth when he had those players, and that's why I think they need to hurry up and move. And we got $18 million sitting on the bench doing nothing, and we got to hurry up and get rid of Fournier. Man, he's just wasting a seat, just sitting there.
Making it warm for the next guy coming through.
They had a study recently, right? Because like I said, when we opened up the show, two extremes, right? Two ends of the spectrum. We had the load management, like they call it the load management crisis. And you got guys like Tibbs running the guys into the ground. But for years, people thought that the load management and player maintenance, if you will, benefited them in the long run. But recently, I don't know if it's the NBA like kind of pushing the narrative in the way they want, but they recently came out and said that load management does not. In fact, scientists and doctors have said load management, orthopedic doctors and all this crazy shit, physiologists and all that, say that it doesn't really matter if you load manage a guy. It doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? If you sit him, it doesn't prevent nor cause injury. I find that hard to believe, because I feel like when you're fatigued, especially as a person who used to be an athlete, when you're fatigued, you start overcompensating on certain muscles, and then you can cause, it's like a bunch of different things. But listen, I'm not going to kill Tibbs. Tibbs changed the culture here.
He did.
I respect what Tibbs is doing. His guys play hard for him. They fuck with him. They love him.
Yes.
But, we ran out of gas, I feel like, a couple years against Miami. I don't want that to happen this year.
Yeah.
And there's no denying that we are decimated with injuries. When you look at the starting lineup last night, I'm like, this doesn't look like a fucking championship team. Was it like Precious Achua, the big Ragu? It was Jalen, and Hartenstein and Josh Hart, right? Respect to those guys, but that don't scream championship when you look at it. The optics on that, right?
Yeah. But shout out to Thibodeau, because one thing I do admire that he's changed, that he improved in his coaching career, is that he's playing young guys now. Like that was very big when he came over to the Knicks. It's like, is he going to play his young guys? And he's been playing the young guys a lot, and you can see that they're developing, because look at McBride.
I think they forced him to do that though.
They forced his hand. I feel like they forced his hand too, but he could have had the final say, be like, no, I'm not gonna, and he chose to accept it and let him play the role.
He might have stunted Obi's development. I don't know, but
I mean, look at Obi over there though. Is Obi? I feel like the Pacers are stunting his growth too, because look, they got Siakam. Same position.
Maybe it's that's just the truth about Obi. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's just the cold hard facts.
Are they stunting his growth, or they just nobody really believes him to be a starter?